From the Gray Man Briefing, this is a summary of recent developments regarding the Second Amendment, cybersecurity, protests, supply chain disruptions, national security, law and order, free speech, censorship, government oversight, and more.
For the fourth quarter of 2025, this is Update 5 to the Gray Man Briefing summary of recent developments. Across the country, in Colorado, a large swastika was erected on Lookout Mountain overlooking Interstate 70, prompting a hate crime investigation. Near Boston, a pro-Palestinian protest turned violent, leaving 4 police officers injured and 13 arrested. In New York, demonstrators protested ICE raids outside of 26 Federal Plaza, following detentions in Chinatown, resulting in clashes. In Illinois, protesters gathered near Chicago International Airport to oppose deportation flights, while in California, Coast Guard Island came under attack as security there had to open fire on a U-Haul truck attempting a ramming. This happened a few hours after anti-ICE protests at the same location. Nationwide, No Kings demonstrators organized by progressive groups and Soros-funded groups saw coordinated turnouts across roughly 2,700 locations. In Michigan, Oregon, and Washington, Antifa network circulated flyers calling for a Mischief Night coming near Halloween. Homeland Security and local police are on alert. On a national level, a federal initiative led by a congressman aims to launch a master ICE tracker website mapping ICE operations. And the FAA reported over 5,000 daily flight delays, as now 13,000 air traffic controllers are now working without pay during the government shutdown. Let's begin with free speech. Looking over in the United Kingdom, in London, the Metropolitan Police, or the Met, announced they will stop investigating non-hate crime incidents. So, in the past, they're looking at any sort of free speech on social media, and if they determine it is negative towards a certain group, typically the LGBT community, also minorities, they would launch a probe, launch an investigation, and actually go to those people's houses and interrogate them. They're going to stop doing that now unless there is an actual crime. It now limits involvement to cases meeting criminal thresholds such as harassment or credible threats. The change followed criticism from the Graham Lineham case, who was a comedian, where he posted some stuff online that was critical of transgender policies. Commissioner Mark Rowley approved the shift to curb police participation in political or free speech related disputes. These free speech posts online will still be logged by police for intelligence purposes, but active investigations will reportedly cease. Let's look now at government oversight. Federal lawmakers have announced plans for a master ICE tracker website to publicly map ICE activities and locations. The site would allow uploads of videos and reports of enforcement operations. Officials cited an 800% increase in assaults on ICE personnel as context for the initiative, but warned that the tool could expose agents and civilians to harm. The project is under legal review for privacy and security concerns, but it's expected to appear as a .gov domain. So in the federal government, Democrats are looking to track ICE operations and share that location, potentially putting ICE agents at risk who have already been shot at by snipers and attacked on a daily basis, while Republicans are urging, more ICE operations and say that this ICE tracker is a negative and a safety issue. So we will continue to follow that, but it's interesting how all that's unfolding. Looking now at major crime. In Alameda, California, Coast Guard-based security personnel opened fire on a U-Haul truck that ignored commands to stop and reversed towards the entrance gate in a ramming attempt. The incident followed hours of the truck being parked near the base and occurred alongside anti-ICE demonstrations blocking access to the same facility. Authorities stated that the driver's actions posed a direct threat, prompting the use of force. Let's look now at civil unrest. Across the U.S., multiple protest events occurred, including pro-Palestinian unrest in Boston that left officers injured and several protesters arrested, and an anti-ICE rally in Illinois outside a deportation facility. And as we mentioned, in Colorado, we saw that large swastika erected is made out of bed sheets and put up on a hillside. In New York, demonstrators protested immigration raids at that 26 Federal Plaza that sees protests daily and riots usually on the weekends. And of course, the No Kings rallies were held nationwide back on the 18th of October, and there were almost 3,000 of those events. Every state had a protest, and yeah, we've covered that a couple of times on the briefing, so we won't go too much further into that right now. Law enforcement agencies reportedly are seeing a rise in tensions across protest zones as both left and right-wing groups increased mobilization efforts. Nationwide, these pro-Palestinian, anti-ICE, and anti-Trump protests remain ongoing. There's, of course, a decrease in pro-Iranian and even LGBT groups, but anti-ICE protests are, of course, increasing, as well as the emergence of far-left groups and standalone activism that are attempting to disrupt right-leaning rallies and gatherings. Join at graymanbriefing.com for real-time updates. Let's look now at domestic extremism. Internal communications between Antifa affiliates revealed plans for a coordinated Mischief Night on October 30th, targeting ICE, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, and the details also said local law enforcement. The obtained document called for escalation and destruction of law enforcement infrastructure if demands were not met, and there were a large list of demands. Originating from networks in Michigan, Oregon, and Washington, the flyer encouraged decentralized participation through local cells rather than national coordination. They like to remain decentralized and give the appearance that they are not organized when in fact they are very organized. Authorities are treating it as a potential intent indicator, advising heightened security awareness and public avoidance of confrontation zones. Looking at infrastructure, across the U.S., air traffic controllers employed by the FAA have continued working unpaid during the federal shutdown. So they've been paid until just a couple of days ago. No more paychecks are coming in, and they're still having to work. The shortage of about 3,500 controllers has worsened fatigue and absenteeism, leading to over 5,000 daily flight delays. Airports in Texas, New Jersey, and California reported the highest disruption levels, with some control towers temporarily unmanned. The FAA warned that prolonged unpaid labor could degrade air safety standards and significantly impact commercial and passenger air travel efficiency nationwide. That's it for this week. We kept it short, but follow next week as we drop a much larger podcast, as a lot of things are developing right now. Remember, these briefings are delivered in real time to Grayman Briefing subscribers sent on Telegram, Signal, and email. Thanks for listening, and as always, remain aware, be vigilant, and stay safe.